So, okay. All right. So today is about the woman who's exhausted from being who everyone else expects her to be. And I assume this is who you're feeling a little bit like this because you've come on today and taken time out of your busy day and your busy evening when you could just be relaxing and enjoying your, watching Netflix or something or doing something else. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And okay, I'm just trying to pin myself if I can. That's easier. There we go. Got it. All right, excellent. So I'm not going to spend much time about me, but I do want to tell you a little bit about me because some people know me here and some people don't. So for those who don't know me, obviously my name is Catherine. I'm an intuitive human design coach and energy healer. I work with energy. I learn energy. In fact, this morning, this is how much I love energy. I had a 6 a.m. session with my energy coach. Someone's coming in. Okay. This morning. So I love to learn about energy, and mixing it in together with human design has been an absolute game changer. And I'm the creator of the Thrive by Design method. It's a 6-week signature program that I put together. We're going to talk about that later. But what I do is I help women who feel exhausted, disconnected, and stuck in repeating patterns. I help them to reconnect to who they truly are, to create healthier relationships, trust themselves again, and live a more aligned life. So this for me, honestly, it's incredible work. I do have a day job that I work at as well. I am corporate. And so I do have a corporate role. I work now 4 days a week so that I can help more people and reach more people. And the aim is to reduce those times. And of course, the aim is to be able to help people and do this kind of work full time. But it really is personal for me because for years I was misunderstood. Would you mind just making sure that you're on mute? I think a few people aren't quite yet on mute. Let me just have a quick look. There we go. I think that's done. Great. Thank you. And mute there. Beautiful. Thank you. Can you hear me okay, by the way? Would you mind just nodding and saying you can hear me? Beautiful. Thank you. I have a new microphone that isn't working, so I went back to the little one here. But I felt for most of my life, I felt misunderstood, especially whether it was from my family, even my kids, in many work environments, and I wondered if something was wrong with me. I actually did think that something was wrong with me, but we will talk more about my story a little bit later. But that's why this work is so personal for me. But speaking of family, I just wanted to share that this is my beautiful partner, Andrew. Andrew and I went to uni together when we were younger, up to about 21, and then we didn't see each other for, I think it was about 29 years, and we just sort of bumped into each other when we were both 50, which is about 5 years ago, and we just hit it off, and we've been together ever since. So we've been together nearly 5 years, and he's just, we say there's no perfect anybody, but for me, Andrew is the perfect man, the perfect partner. And you'll see if you follow my socials, he jumps in every now and then, and he's the one who's always recording me. And then I've got my daughter, Danielle. So over here, this beautiful girl is my daughter, and this is my son, Jason. She's a dancer on cruise ships. So if you follow my socials as well, you will see lots and lots of things that I share with her, and I tend to go and visit her overseas as well. So I have all these, really great photos at times to share. There's Andrew again, and my beautiful mother. My mother is 88 years old, and the reason I am the way I am is because of my mother. I was raised in a home where she would tell us from a very young age, like this is the 80s, and she's a Greek lady, and she was so forward in her ways that she would always encourage me to believe in myself. Believe in yourself. Of course you can do it. Why can't you do it? Of course you can do it. Believe you can do it. You can do it. If you think you can, you can. And that positive mindset work started for me from very young. And it really did help me because I've had, as I mentioned, quite a few challenges over the years. When you're someone like me who has a lot of energy and I'm out there, people don't understand that. And when you speak quickly and you're quite motivated and get things done and you're excitable, and people used to just try to squash me and put me down and put me in my place. But Mum was always the person who would say to me, you can do it, believe in yourself. And my mum, through all of her charity work over the years, has received the prestigious award of she's an OAM, which is the Order of Medal of Australia for her work in her community work, which was just incredible. And she was awarded that. That I think it was about 6 years ago now. So she's amazing. And then of course there's Leo, my beautiful fur baby. He is just everything to me. So you'll see lots of photos of him if you follow my socials as well. So that's pretty much me. Enough of me. So now it's basically about you today, and helping to understand why you're feeling exhausted, disconnected, and stuck despite doing so much work on yourself. You know, a lot of people have done a lot of the personal development. I certainly had, but I still found myself stuck and still exhausted. So it's about helping you understand what's really been draining your energy. We talk about how we're tired and we're busy. We just mentioned before, we're busy, but we also talk about how we're tired, and I'm so tired. So again, with the energy work that I do, and also if you think about mindset work, the more we speak about these things, about how I'm so exhausted today. Oh my God, I'm so tired lately. I've been so tired. I'm so busy. Oh, I don't have any time to do anything. When we speak like that, our words create and our thoughts create our reality. So what I'm excited today is to sort of help you get out of that and really address the reason why you are feeling so exhausted, so that you can start to live happier, more aligned lives. So it's about showing you a different way. But I do, before we dive in, I just want to encourage you to be fully present. It looks like you all are. Thank you. Grab a notebook if you want to. This is going to be, it's recorded obviously, so there is a replay. If you, hang on, I'm just going to make sure that I am recording this, because I'm sure, yes, it's recorded, good. So there is a replay available as well. And so for those watching at home, if you've later after the event, you'll be watching the replay. So welcome to all those watching the replay as well. Thank you for doing that, because it's very easy these days to just, sign up and register for for something and say you'll watch the replay, you receive the replay, and then you just don't get around to watching it, because again, life just gets in the way. So again, thank you for those who are watching it. But most importantly, give yourself permission to receive today, because tonight's workshop, it may challenge some things that you believed about yourself for a very long time. I probably will challenge you, and you'll think, my gosh, I actually am feeling that way. And that can really be incredibly powerful. So, when you actually recognize some patterns and things that are happening in your life, and you understand what needs to shift, that's you're almost there by recognizing that. So let's dive in. So my goal today is to show you why you're exhausted, what's really draining your energy, and how conditioning impacts your life, and how to reconnect with your true self. And how does that sound? Is everybody happy with that? Yep. And you can please feel free to write things in the chat. I'm just going to open up this chat here so I can see it easily. So please feel free to put things into the chat. Okay. And does this sound familiar? So, because this workshop is for the woman who really has done the work, the woman who's read the books, listened to the podcasts, invested in personal development, worked on her mindset, and genuinely tried to become the best version of herself. And yet, despite all of that effort, she still feels exhausted. Can anyone relate to that? Yeah, you can even just, if you want, if it's easier, you can just put even like a 1 for those who have the cameras off. But you could even just do a 1 or a yes or a Y or a yep. Thank you, Dana. Yes, yeah. That was me to a T. Me to a T. How many more things can I do? And I still have to actually stop myself from still saying yes to things, because you just keep thinking, oh, I need to know more, I need to learn more, I'm constantly someone who wants to improve myself. You probably are the same. But then once you know these key things, you realize that you can be a little bit more picky with, and you understand why you are the way you are. All right. So at that point, you've done all the work, and you can still feel disconnected, you can feel stuck, and you're still repeating the same patterns. So you're still second guessing yourself. You're still worrying about what other people think. Still saying yes when you really want to say no. Your hands up for that one. Still feels disconnected from who she really is. If that's you, I want you to know something before we go any further, which is really, really important. And I really want you to listen to this, please. Or you have to read it and then you have to listen to it. there's nothing wrong with you. I really want to say this so clearly. There's nothing wrong with you. And, you know, for years I was told that there were things wrong with me, but because I was, you know, different, and there's nothing wrong with you. And there's so many things that are right with you. And we just got to work out how to bring them into alignment so that you bring out the best version of yourself comes out, and the best version of your life comes out. So you're not broken, and you don't need fixing. And by the end of today's workshop, my goal is to show you why. So today you're going to discover why many intelligent, capable, self-aware women continue to feel stuck despite doing all the right things. And you're going to understand why you keep finding yourself in the same exhausting cycles. You know, I'm so exhausted, looping. Now I've gone for my walk, and you know, I'm doing the things, and you know, I'm taking my magnesium. You know, the amount of things that people would say to me, they mean well. Everyone means well, but you're going to learn how conditioning has pulled you away from your natural energy. So conditioning is like, you know, what people say that you should act this way and act a certain way and think a certain way. And when, you know, here, you know, and especially in Australia, you know, if you do something a little bit different from others, they're like, oh, what are you doing? And make you feel bad about that. And what you're going to discover is what's possible when you stop trying to be who everyone else thinks you should be and start living in alignment with who you truly are. And that was groundbreaking for me. It just like life-changing. Because what I've discovered, as I'm saying through my own journey, is that through working with women just like you, is that the problem isn't that you're not trying hard enough. The real problem is that you've been trying to live according to rules that were never designed for you. And when you understand your unique energetic blueprint, everything starts to make sense. The self-doubt, the people-pleasing, the exhaustion, the feeling of being misunderstood, the feeling that no matter how much work you do, something still isn't clicking. And today I'm going to show you a different way, a way that allows you to trust yourself again, a way that allows you to stop looking outside of yourself for answers and trusting yourself, not what do you think, and a way that helps you connect with the woman you've always been underneath all those expectations, conditioning, and noise. I don't know if anyone remembers, there was a scene from Friends where Joey had all these coats on, like layer upon layer, all these layers and layers and layers of clothing on. And we liken that, our the conditioning to that. You know, when a baby is born, they're just, you know, beautiful, perfect, you know, just their beautiful skin, and, you know, they don't understand rules and expectations, and, you know, and then over time you get put these layers and layers and layers on, and then by the time we, you know, as we go through life, we've lost ourselves with this conditioning and the noise. There's so much noise at the moment. And so if that's what you're looking for, then you're absolutely in the right place. And when you understand your unique energetic blueprint, everything starts to make sense. And that was the key thing for me, how much understanding my human design and my unique blueprint, how my energy is designed to work, just how everything just started to make sense, how I'm best aligned to make decisions. So if I ask you this question, what do you think about the answer? Have you felt like you are carrying the weight of everyone else? I'll just check. I just really want to check the chat at the minute. Have we felt that? Yeah, 100%. Yes. Let's see who's just coming on their iPhone. I can't see who's on their iPhone. What? I can't see who's come in. But yes, finding just all that, they're carrying that extra weight. And I've got that photo of me. I think it's hilarious. It was like this horrible photo. Andrew was out taking photos. I was at my business coach last year, her retreat, and I was asking him to take some photos of me, and he took that photo, and I'm like, what a horrible photo. And I'm like, actually, that's a great photo to show when I'm out of alignment. There you go. But have, you know, when we are the people who are carrying this weight of everyone else, you know, we're the people that everyone comes to, the one who holds everything together, and that in itself is exhausting. The one who supports everyone else, the strong one, the dependable one, the one who always seems to have it figured out. But behind closed doors, you're exhausted. and not necessarily physically exhausted, although that may be the case too. Of course, if you're not having rest, and particular energy types don't have energy to go all day. That's another big light bulb moment when you understand that you're designed to have energy that only lasts a certain amount of hours a day, or you can only go a certain amount of time over the week, and then you need to have a rest. Others like me, the reason why I have so much energy is because I'm designed to have a lot of energy. But also you can feel more to the point is that you feel emotionally exhausted from constantly thinking about everyone else, constantly overthinking, exhausted about trying to keep the peace, exhausted from worrying about how your decisions will affect others, exhausted from questioning yourself every time you want something different. Maybe you've spent years putting everyone else's needs before your own. That's very typical of women, in particular, mothers. And maybe you become so good at reading the room and anticipating what everyone else wants that you've forgotten what you want. Maybe you've gotten to the point where someone asks you a simple question like, what do you want? And you genuinely don't know. And you know what? And what I also what I teach through human design actually is how we make decisions. So some people are designed to make decisions with a yes or no answer. So if people don't know how to ask you that question based on your design, you can't answer it. So if I'm someone who needs, Andrew needs to ask me, do you want chicken or fish tonight? And I'll choose. But if he asks me, what do you want for dinner? I'll go, I don't know. So that's another thing. It's another example. And it's not, so that's why it's not because you're not capable of knowing or working things out. It's because you've spent so long focusing on everyone else that maybe you're just stuck in your patterns too. You become used to your patterns. You're self-aware enough to recognize them, but you're still stuck in them. The same with relationship dynamics. We put up with so much because it's just easier. The same with people pleasing. We have these, how many times do you go, I don't want to go there on Saturday, but I know that mum really wants me to go, or my friend's going to be upset if I don't go. I've got so much on this week, I just don't have time for this, but you still go. We still say yes to help someone when you know that your cup is absolutely not only full, it's overflowing. So the same with self-doubt, doubting yourself, making decisions and then doubting it. The same fear of disappointing people, that's a big one. And when I look in some human design charts, actually, I can see where that plays out, that we're scared of disappointing people. The same feeling of shrinking yourself to make other people more comfortable. The amount of times I've had to tone down my voice and my energy to make others feel comfortable, I've just stopped doing that now. Sure, if you're in an environment where you can't be too loud and over enthusiastic, of course I'm going to tone it down. But if someone is clearly not coping because of their own reasons, well, that's on them. It's not on me. But in the past, I would shrink myself. And that's and what's frustrating is that you've already done so much work on yourself. Like we've said, you've read the books, you've listened to the podcasts, you've tried the mindset work, and you're becoming more aware, and yet these patterns keep showing up. Different people, different situations, same feelings, and maybe the hardest part is that deep down you've started wondering if the problem is you. Who has asked if the problem is them? Like who's been that person? Oh, Nicole, Natalie, I can see that you've better setting boundaries. Well done, well done. Boundaries are really important. Yes, well done. Yeah. Thanks for that. Oops, just get rid of that. And then the other thing we have like that we might be overthinking. Why can't I just get over this? But coming back to the thing about the problem, about the problem is you. That was the case always with me, because I found repeating patterns happening, and then I kept thinking, well, what's the common denominator? It's me, but it actually wasn't me. It's not a common denominator. Like, they're all different situations and different kind of things, but I just sort of thought that it's me. So that's another example. So one of the problems that I find in the personal development industry is that we've been taught to work harder, be better, keep fixing yourself, because there must be something wrong with us. So if we're exhausted, they're saying, oh, well, you need to work harder or need to work smarter. And if we're stuck, we need another strategy. How many times have they said that, oh, you just need a different way of doing things? Obviously, this is not working for you. If we're overwhelmed, we need more discipline. Oh, you just need to focus on what's important. Focus on what you can control. And by the way, that's a very good line. That is something, good advice, to focus on what we can control. But it seems to be a bit of a default when we're overwhelmed. Oh, just focus on what we can control, as opposed to why are you overwhelmed? What's happening to make you overwhelmed? And if we're unhappy, we need to fix ourselves. So sometimes also needing understanding our emotional intelligence, and also how our own emotional makeup also really makes a difference as well. Like, I've got something called an emotional authority. So my emotions can go up and down. They I can be really up there and feeling fantastic, and then I can be really down. I thought there was something wrong with me. Turns out I've got I'm made up. My makeup includes an emotional wave, and I just know how to manage that. So how many years have we spent, well, ask yourself, how many years have you spent trying to become better? And one thing that I know, and I learned from Jim Rohn years ago. Jim Rohn was Tony Robbins' mentor. He was one of the first mentors and public speakers in the 70s, I think it was, a motivational speaker in the 70s. And I met him. I was very lucky to meet him in his later career. And what happens if nothing changes? And nothing changes if nothing changes. So, but really, what happens if nothing changes? Not next week, not next month, even a year from now. What about even 3 years from now or 5 years from now? Like, what does that mean? So what happens if you continue living exactly how you are today? What happens if you keep putting everyone else's needs ahead of your own? What happens if you keep second guessing yourself every time you make a decision? What happens if you continue to look outside yourself for permission to really be who you really and truly are? Because this is what I've noticed. Most women won't wake up one day completely disconnected from themselves. It happens slowly. One compromise at a time. One ignored intuition at a time. One boundary not set at a time. But I'm glad to hear that some of us here are already starting to reset those boundaries. Well, one yes when they want to say no. One decision made to keep someone else comfortable, until eventually they wake up one day and realize that they don't even recognize themselves anymore. And that's really heartbreaking. It breaks my heart. I have the most beautiful clients who have come my way. And they're really strong, intelligent women, and they're just so broken because of all these, of always being there for someone else and not looking after themselves. Because these women, they're intelligent, they're caring, they're intuitive. I speak to heaps all the time on Instagram, and then also even at work, my day job. I know through LinkedIn, a lot of people are contacting me. These women they're deeply loved, they're powerful, but so many of them have spent years shrinking those parts of themselves and trying to fit in, trying to be accepted, trying to avoid judgment, trying to avoid disappointing people. That's such a big one, isn't it? That trying to avoid disappointing people. And I know many friends, people close to me who have been in those situations. And what is that cost? What is that cost? It's enormous. So the cost is waking up exhausted. The cost is constantly questioning yourself. The cost is staying in relationships that no longer align. How many of us have done that? Especially, I was single, I was in a relationship I never should have been in, my gosh, and I stayed way too long. The cost is constantly questioning yourself. Staying in relationships that no longer, I'll say that, so I'm not repeating myself, but the cost is carrying resentment. This is another big one about resentment, because you're putting yourself last. That is something, and depending again on your human design energy type, some particular energy types, when they're out of alignment, they do feel resentment. But that resentment over time builds up, and then it can just destroy. So the cost is never fully expressing who you came to be. Perhaps it's the biggest cost of all, is that you never get to experience what life is like when you're truly in alignment. You never get to experience the peace that comes from trusting yourself. You make that one decision and you say, I just trust that. And I've learned to do that. I still falter, but I come back. It's like I call it my true north, and I come back and I say what my body will tell me, yes or no. My gut, my intuition, my body will tell me. So that the peace that I feel with that, and I actually stand in my power and I say, no, I've made that decision and we're going with it. And and even if it's not quite, I won't say it's not quite the right decision, if it's sort of everything works out exactly how it's supposed to work out. And that's a little tip from me. Energetically, spiritually, we say that there are never any mistakes. So when things, this another cost actually is people, we've got here lost time, but a lot of people worry about lost time too, because they say, oh, what a waste of time. Nothing's ever a waste of time. It's always there for the learning. And then we take that forward. It's the mistakes are mistakes if you continuously make the same mistake. But as long as you're learning, it's an opportunity to learn. So also the confidence that comes from knowing, like you don't experience, like the confidence that comes from knowing who you are, like that, to stand in your power and just go and live this aligned life and say, you know what, I feel really confident within myself and I know who I am and I'm really proud of that person. Another thing that you could potentially miss out on is, but if you don't live an aligned life, is the freedom that comes from no longer needing everyone's approval. I've taught my daughter this one. She was really constantly looking for everybody's approval to do things, and especially for her, she's a manifestor in human design. That means that she's here to do great things, big things, move fast, but she's not here to ask for people's approval. She's here to inform people about things, and just that, well, this is what I'm doing, and if you don't like it, that's okay, but I'm just letting you know this is what I'm doing. So imagine that peaceful feeling of no longer needing everyone's approval. The energy that becomes available when you're no longer fighting back against yourself. And that is a really big one, because again, burnout, we think about burnout being, I'm just working too long and I haven't had a holiday. That's a smidgen of burnout, reason why you burn out. You burn out because you're fighting against yourself. You burn out because you're people pleasing. You're saying yes when you want to say no. You burn out because you're spending all your energy trying to keep the peace, and you're spending all your energy by being a person that you're not, and you're not designed to be. So what's waiting on the other side is becoming aligned, is basically, it's not doing more and being more. It's actually like understanding yourself. And that's why this conversation matters, because every day you continue living according to conditioning instead of your truth, you're giving away a little more of your energy, a little more of your power, a little more of yourself. And I don't believe that's why you're here. I believe you're here because some part of you knows that there's another way. That some part of you knows you're meant for more than constantly managing exhaustion. And more than constantly doubting yourself, and more than constantly wondering who you really are underneath all the expectations. And if that's true, today can be a turning point for you. And I really hope that it is. I truly do. A moment where you can stop trying to become someone else and start reconnecting with the woman you've always been. So I mentioned to you about my story. Here we go. I did want to share this with you all because it's very personal. And I've had, look, there's been many things that have happened throughout my life. I mean, my marriage started with the day, this is just one example. I met my ex-husband now when I was 17, and I married just before I was 21. And on the day of the wedding, I only found a years later, but his parents begged him to leave me at the aisle. They didn't want him to marry me. So that's just one. That's how my married life started at 21 years old. So you can imagine what I've experienced. And, it was always too much. But what I'm sharing, everything that I'm sharing isn't all learned from a book. And it is something, it's obviously what I've lived. So for most of my life, I felt misunderstood. People would tell me who they thought I was. You're too much. Friends, family, people I worked with. I've been high level management, so my highest level I got to in my corporate role before I had enough, and I was made redundant, but I'd had enough, was general manager of massive teams, sales teams, and I was always upsetting someone. Always. Someone was getting upset because I said, something that I said, or they just misunderstood me. my friends, my family would sometimes say to me, you know, she's too much, or it's hard for, you know, it's going to be hard for you to find another partner because you're hard to be with, because hard to deal with. You know, everyone seemed to have an opinion about how I should be, how I should act, how I should show up. Who else has experienced that in their life, in their family? Yeah. Oh, thank you, Pamela, for that. Thank you. Yeah, I'm the black sheep and love it. Yeah. I reckon we've all been the black sheep. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, yes, it was just constantly telling me how I should be. And over time, I started believing them. I really did. I thought there was something wrong with me. I started questioning myself, wondering if there was something actually wrong with me. Why was I different? Why did I think differently? Why did I seem to experience life differently from other people? And if I'm honest, like I really spent years trying to fix those parts of myself, to the point where I actually had hypnotherapy. I've since learned hypnotherapy. I'm certified in hypnotherapy. But I went and had hypnotherapy to lower my voice when I'm excited, because I was getting in trouble from HR by my sales team that when I was excited or I wanted to ask a question, my voice would raise. And I'll give you an example. I would say things like, oh my God, why is that happening? And you can see my face, it's a genuine, why is that happening? And I mean, that's not a natural way of me to speak anymore. It's completely changed, but this was me about 10 years ago. And they'd say, oh, and she was so rude and she was so abrupt and I felt scared. I'm like, I just asked a question. So I went and had hypnotherapy. So I didn't mean any harm by that question, but I went and had hypnotherapy so that I could lower my voice and be calm. And that's how much, because I genuinely felt that there's something wrong with me. So definitely about, you know, trying to be less of this and more of that, trying to become a better version of myself that felt more acceptable to other people. And then came a period in my life that was really challenging. I was made redundant. And during that time of redundancy, if I tell you how negative and toxic that environment was, and people took the opportunity to kick the boots in too. So as I was leaving, you know, people, oh, this and that, and she was this and she was that. And I was hearing things, and it was devastating, and it bruised me so much that I've done all this work. And it was actually when I learned about my human design, understood myself better, that some of the healing started to take place. Even though I was doing healing work, I did so much breath work, and just to release a lot of that trauma. These people really hurt me. The things that were said, opinions, comments that brought up all old wounds from earlier. Because, you know, imagine if you obviously being married 24 years in a family who didn't want you, there's lots of old wounds there. And a lot of wounds around being misunderstood. Last night, yesterday, my ex-husband's uncle passed away, and he was 90, so God bless him, like rest in peace. He lived a beautiful life, but he was full of life, and he loved me and really saw me for who I was. So it was really nice to have him there, and he would say to me, they don't understand you. They just don't understand how amazing you are. They don't understand you. But they didn't understand him either, because he was also out there. So I have a lot of wounds around being misunderstood and being judged and feeling like people never really saw me for who I was. And when I talk about Andrew, that he's the perfect man for me, not like I don't think there's perfect any person exists, but for me, he's the perfect man, because he's the first man in all my life who actually sees me for me and loves me for me. So all those things that I was being judged and being criticized on, he actually loves all those things about me. So it was being with him as well has helped to heal, and then leading me on to this version of me now. So I do remember being in a place where I was asking myself, what's next, especially after the redundancy. Oh my God, what's next? Who am I now? Is anyone going to want me? What am I actually supposed to be doing? And the only thing that I remembered that apparently and then that's when I actually found human design. Actually, that was just by luck that I found human design. And the only thing that I remembered was that I was called a manifesting generator, but I didn't even really understand what that was. So I was looking for what's next, and I came across that. And I've just, let me just, then that's when I found human design. Hang on a second, I just want to go here. So someone had mentioned it to me, and I downloaded a report about human design. And I downloaded a report about it, and I didn't really quite understand any of it. It was very convoluted. It was in tiny, it was this report that was in tiny writing. So it wasn't even like set out nicely. It was like almost like an HTML kind of document, like this tiny writing. And I just looked at it, and it was a few pages long, and I've just got, oh my God, what is this? And I just put it aside. But then, and I didn't know what that was about. So it was quite confusing. And that's what, I had something called, I was called like the manifesting generator. And that's all I really remembered. But I wanted to know more because people were talking about human design at this point. And then, and all the energy types and, what are you and what are you and what are you? And I'm like, I don't even know what this is. But then sometime later, my niece was from the States, had studied human design, and I found out. And so I sent her a message and I said, hey, let's do a Zoom call. Can I do a session with you? I just need to understand this at a deeper level, because people are saying that it'll really help me to understand myself, but I don't understand what it is. But my curiosity has definitely come back. And for the first time, I wasn't being told who I should be. I had so many light bulb moments when I saw that. So there's this body graph, and then there's all these different energy types, and then there's like these centers, and see all that there's centers that tell you all about your personality, and those gates, and there's channels and all sorts of things. But it actually tells you so much about yourself. And for the first time, I actually started to understand myself. I was shown who I actually am. And I learned that many of the things that I'd spent years judging about myself were actually part of my design, and that they were actually like superpowers. So I'll give you an example about as a manifesting generator, that energy type. I mentioned that I have lots of energy. My energy can go as long as I'm in my joy. Like tonight, I could probably speak for 4 hours. I'm not going to. I'm watching time, but I could talk for hours because I'm so much in my joy. I'm just loving this, and I love helping people. And when you're my client, you see it. There's so much energy coming out to help people. And also I'm known to do like a variety of things. So I like to multitask. I manifesting generators tend to start things and not finish them, and that's okay. I used to get things like, oh, you don't focus very much, do you? You always change your mind. We're notorious at changing our minds, and it's part of our design. That's how we're designed, to change our mind. We're supposed to change our mind. When I knew that, on my last partner, he was horrible, and he would always say to me, he would absolutely backstab me to people. Sometimes I'd be there, but other times behind my back. Oh, she's always changing her mind. She's always starting something and never finishing it, and as if there's something wrong with me. That like once I started to understand that, it's amazing. I have friends who are projectors, and projectors only have, and a lot of clients who are projectors actually, who have limited energy. So a projector is very wise. They know lots of things about lots of things. I think we've got a few projectors. Holly, are you one? Have we got that? Yes, Holly, you are. Yes. Alyssa, you have we worked out what you are? Aren't you a projector as well? I thought you were. But projectors are only supposed to go. Yes. All right. So here you go. There you go. This is another part. This is an example. So projectors think that they are slow and take their time, and so you're thinking, I'm slow. Like people will say to you, oh, you're so slow, so you're not keeping up. Like someone like me who's a manifesting generator, you're not supposed to. A projector has a limited amount of energy, and then they need to rest. So, but what will happen is a projector will do a lot of work in a short period of time and get things done. The most important things will get done. And then they need to rest. So they're not here. They're very wise, and they have lots and lots. I suspect we have a few in here actually today. But projectors are not. They're very wise, and they love to give advice and help people. But because projectors have limited energy, they need to think twice about who they give their energy to and who they help. So their strategy is to wait for the invitation. So you actually put out there and say, hey, I know about that. If you'd like to know, let me know. And when they come back to you, so when people come back to you and say, hey, I'd like to know about that, then you're using the energy on the person who wants to hear what you have to say, as opposed to just telling someone, you know what you should do, blah, 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 and that person doesn't want to know. And then talk about resentment. They get very resentful when they're trying to help someone and that person doesn't want to know. So these are kind of things that we learn about ourselves and how to navigate that so that we're in alignment. So my brain works really fast. As you can tell from my speaking, when I get excited, I'm more, blah, 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 you know. I'm designed that way. So, you know, yeah, I change direction, I move. That's what, you know, but for years I've been told that these were flaws, that I should slow down, that I should pick one thing and do that one thing. Now, if you're a generator, you're going to do that one thing and you're going to do it well because you're going to love it, you're going to be in your joy, and you're going to do it well. So again, depending on the different type and who you are, that's how you know how to use your energy. But, you know, human design showed me that these weren't flaws at all, and they were strengths and they were gifts, and they were part of who I was designed to be. And in fact, when I looked at my profile, I'm a 2-5. My line 2 is what I'm conscious about. It's like my personality style. And I have unique gifts that I love to share with the world and provide. And the line 5 is the heritage, which is providing solutions. So I have these unique gifts, which I share with people and help find solutions for people. So that's why I'm good, why I was in sales, why I love this kind of work when I'm helping people. I didn't understand that before. And the other thing about line 2s is that you must have downtime and quiet time. And I thought, again, there's something wrong with me because I wanted to just, there was times I just didn't want, I'm such a personality, but I just didn't want to be around people, and I needed just to go home, put on TV or go for a walk and not even be around people. Again, I thought something's wrong with me. The best thing that I can do when I'm overwhelmed is go and sit in a room by myself. So again, you know, learning this is just life-changing. I'm just going to check. We've got a few chats. Let me have a quick look. Yes. Oh, Holly. Yes. Love my hermit time. Yep. Bring on the time. Yep. Michelle. Love it. Yep. I do too. I just love it. So then the other thing that I absolutely love about this is I learned about my emotional authority. I mentioned that before. This is the way you make decisions. And honestly, that was another huge moment for me. I discovered that my emotional highs and lows that I'd experienced my whole life was something that it's not something that needed fixing. It's normal for me. It's normal. So I don't suffer from bipolar. I'm not an emotional nightmare. I'm not an emotional roller coaster. I mean, I am, but I know why I am. But, you know, I have so many people saying those things to me about how, she's just such an emotional nightmare. Anyone else? That emotional nightmare, people, so emotional all the time. And we women, we cop that emotional all the time. There's nothing wrong with that. When I make decisions, I need to make sure that my emotional state is the wave is neutral. And then I ask my body if it's a yes or a no. That's how I make decisions. There's certain ways that I make decisions that has, again, changed my life. So, you know, that an energetic wave is part of my natural energetic rhythm. So I realized that there was nothing wrong with me. I wasn't broken. I wasn't failing. I wasn't too much. I wasn't crazy. My last partner used to say that all the time. I wasn't defective. I was simply experiencing life through the lens of my design. And for the first time in my life, I actually felt relief. Like it just made all the difference, because for years of trying to become someone else, I finally understood myself and worked out that I'm actually perfect the way I am, and that the best version of me is actually me. And you know, I stopped fighting myself and trying to be someone else, and that's where I got a lot of that peace. So that version of happiness is that I have now is that someone it's no longer a version that somebody else thought that I should be. It's actually me being me and learning to trust myself and to honor my energy and how to work with my design rather than against it. So that's why I'm so passionate about sharing this work. I know it's like I know what it's like to spend years and years and years of people telling you a certain way, and you're not that way at all. And I see it in the corporate world. My God, I see it playing out. And Pamela, I'm sure you do too. I see it play out all the time. People trying to be someone they're not having enough confidence within themselves to actually be themselves because they think that they're not enough. They're scared of showing if they're a bit too emotional, or if they're tired and they want time out, they're not going to keep up. Lots of people pleasing. I see it all the time. And then they wonder why they're burnt out, and they go, I just need a holiday. So what do? You go on a holiday for 2 weeks, you come back so relaxed and so wonderful, and then within 2 weeks time you're back to where you were before. So freedom, I know that the freedom that comes when you I know that freedom that comes when you finally release what was never yours. Like what we were carrying was never yours. It's just so that feeling of freedom is so euphoric. And this is, I love this. This is a photo of me at my best friend's wedding. So I wanted to put that photo in because when I looked about what happens after, like signs of living in alignment, look at that increased confidence. I think that photo of me is a real personifies exactly who I am and now and how I'm feeling after all of this. Increased confidence, better outcomes. Because once I understood my design, I couldn't unsee it. And suddenly all the pieces just came together. Things that had confused me for years just started to make sense. Patterns I had carried for decades started revealing themselves. And most importantly, I stopped spending my energy trying to become someone else. Yeah, and that's a massive one. It's trusting my decisions, trusting my intuition. So when do you think why I call myself an intuitive human design coach, an energy coach, is because since I've been doing this work and really tuning into myself, I'm blessed to be gifted with intuition. We all are, by the way. We all have intuition, but mine has just pops now. So when if anyone does like any intuitive work, it's not everyone sort of likes it or understands it, and that's okay. But we all are intuitive. But if you like an intuitive reading, you'll be really amazed at what comes through when I read human design charts. When I connect with the energy. But most importantly is why I'm feeling so great is because I started giving myself permission to honor what felt right for me instead of constantly seeking approval from everyone else around me. And the more I did that, the more my energy changed. So now people see me and they go, you're so happy. And they keep thinking that it's because I'm with Andrew. Like I am happy, but I made myself happy. He makes me happy too. But you know that unless you feel happiness within yourself, no one else can make you happy. It doesn't last. So the more aligned I became, the more confident I became, the more peaceful I became, not because life became perfect, but because I finally understood who I was. And then what was even more exciting is that the unexpected happened, which is other women started to find me and ask me, what am I doing? Like, why? Women who felt exactly the way that I used to feel. And as I said, I see it in the corporate world, I see it online, I see it at work. Women who were exhausted, women who felt misunderstood. I have these conversations on a daily basis. Women who had spent years trying to fix themselves and had lost trust in their own voice. Women who become so focused on meeting everyone else's expectations that they completely disconnected from themselves. And I started guiding them through human design and energy work. And I noticed the most incredible thing is that the same thing started to happen for them. And I've got some testimonials from the most beautiful clients that I've literally, like the work that they've done, they've done it. They've literally changed their life. Lots of light bulb moments when we go through things, lots of relief, big, deep exhales. No more holding on to that breath, and that relief of, oh my goodness, there's nothing wrong with me. And I saw it client after client after client. I watched women begin setting boundaries without guilt. I watched women stop being people pleasing. I have like a WhatsApp support thing, sort of group, and the amount of women, like I'd get messages, I stood up for myself today, I said no, and I was asked why not, but I just did because I don't want to. And this client was just, I said I don't want to, and I said no, and I was so proud of her, but most importantly she was proud of herself. And she started to, the clients are starting to make decisions based on what's right for them rather than what make everybody else happy. I've watched women reconnect with parts of themselves they thought they'd lost, and perhaps the most beautiful thing of all was watching their energy change, just becoming more energetic. at the moment I have a school teacher, a client who's a school teacher, and she's a PE teacher, and she said how she's been feeling more energetic lately. Just when what we've been doing is I've been giving her, like, she's understood herself, how her energy works, her personality, her profile, how she's designed to in order to be in alignment, like what to do, how I give her energy shifts and hacks on every few days. And she said the other day, she's just noticed, she said nothing significant has actually changed in her life really around her. It's just she's subtly changing, and her energy is coming back. That's it. So, and that was within 2 weeks. So she's actually doing a 12-week program with me, which is a bit longer than the normal, but we've sort of stretched it out, and it's so exciting. I love receiving messages from her. Because they're no longer fighting themselves every day, and they're not wasting their energy, and they're trying to fit in and trying to be someone that they're not. So imagine trusting yourself completely. Just sit there and imagine that. I mean, what would that feel like? That you would just, I just make these decisions and it feels good. And imagine making decisions without overthinking. That's a big one. Freedom. Yeah. Sometimes I do sometimes fall out of it, and then I remind myself, hang on a minute, breathe, stop, realign, truth north, come back to yourself, and then stop over. You know what you're doing, and I know what, and that's the other thing, that you become more aware of what you're doing, and you can stop it really quickly. So imagine feeling at home within yourself. Just imagine waking up in the morning and immediately feeling the weight, not feeling the weight of everyone else's expectations, and imagine not spending half a day worrying about whether you've upset someone. Anyway, I have a feeling we might have a few people who may have experienced something like that. And imagine not replaying conversations in your head, wondering if you said the wrong thing. That was me in my corporate world before. I was always worried, And imagine trusting yourself, and not occasionally, and not when convenient, but deeply and consistently every single day. Imagine knowing exactly how to make decisions that are right for you without needing 10 other opinions. What do you think I should do? Should I do that? I'm not sure. I think you should do that. And why are you doing that? Oh, there is. And then the justification starts. Imagine not justifying your actions and your decisions. Not needing that validation without needing somebody else to tell you what to do. Imagine what that would feel like. And if you want to put some comments down, like what that would feel like. Oh, I just feel so much lighter just thinking about it. Imagine having boundaries that don't come from anger or frustration, but they come from self-respect. So when you have boundaries and you're saying to them, no, I'm not doing that. No, you always make me do that, as opposed to, no, thank you. This time that doesn't align with me, but thank you. Imagine that. Or not right now. I'm going to get back to you. I can't make a decision right now. But if you just allow me some time, I will let you know by Wednesday. Thanks. And not, is that okay? It's like, okay, thanks. What are they going to say? Imagine responding like that. Imagine being able to choose yourself without feeling selfish. I imagine being able to honor your own needs without needing permission. Can I please, I don't know how many times oh my God, if I go back into my marriage, he's a good man, like a good father, so I don't like to say anything negative about him, but we did, the family, but he was a good man, and he, but the amount of justification and the permission that was constant, either with him to spend money, or even like with his parents to do things, just crazy stuff. And I look back at that and I'm like, how did I even do that? Because that's really where women get stuck. They know what they need, they just don't trust themselves enough to act on it, and so you just keep looping. But imagine no longer carrying the belief that there's something wrong with you. I mean, that in itself is just so freeing. Yeah, Lissy, loving, feeling in your power. Yeah. Freedom. I know. I just love that word. I think it's the word of the workshop today. Freedom. And not being criticized for your sensitivity, your emotions, your intuition, your way of thinking, your way of moving through the world. Imagine seeing those as gifts and not flaws. So strengths instead of weaknesses, because that's exactly what happens when women start to understand their design and they stop fighting themselves and they're working within themselves. And this is a really big one as well. Imagine the energy that becomes available when you're no longer carrying self-judgment every single day. Because these are the things that are actually burning us out. It's not the I've been working without a holiday. I just worked. This week was a busy week at work. Oh wow, we had a big month, and I had I had a conference that I had to go to. I'm exhausted. That's just the icing on the cake. The exhaustion, the real exhaustion, comes from all of these deeper reasons. So just imagine just letting all of that go. We've talked about freedom, the peace, the relief, and moving through life feeling grounded. Grounded is a big word in today's language. I need to ground myself. But this is a way of being grounded and feeling clear, connected, and knowing who you are, what matters to you, and knowing what is yours to carry and what isn't. Because a lot of us have to take, this weight off our shoulders and carrying everybody else's things that we shouldn't be carrying. So imagine being in a relationship where you're no longer abandoning yourself to keep someone else happy. And that's a big one. There's one of the centers, the G center. When that's an open center, people can chameleon themselves into other people so that they fit in. But if you're in what we say like your shadow, if you're sort of like working not in alignment with that, then I know a lot of people who have lost themselves in relationships and lost themselves in friendships. Those friends who they start dating someone or they start a new friendship group and they just become like them. That's another example, and we identify things like that as well. So imagine feeling emotionally safe within yourself, trusting your intuition. We talked about that, and just being adding it's not about, so as we're talking, it's not about fixing yourself or adding another layer of personal development. It's actually more so, it's actually about coming back to you. Because the human design, when you generate a report, I don't know if anyone has done that. I think a few have. Just see what's in the chat here. Yeah. Not my circus, not my monkeys, Natalie. Yes, I actually said that the other day at work. I was so proud of myself because I wouldn't have said that before. I love that. And there was one of the team where I was like, and then I went, Catherine, not your circus, not your monkeys, just walk away. And keep your peace. So, but human design, so it's based on, your chart is generated through your date of birth, your place of birth, and your time of birth. And so it's actually how you were born. It's genetics. It's how you were born. So what understanding that is not about, it's not personal development. I get, again, in the corporate world, they're like, oh yeah, I've done my Myers-Briggs. And I'm like, okay, so that's your personality of who you are right now today. So with all your conditioning and all your experience and everything today. But who are you when you were born? Who's the real you? That's what I'm talking about. So that's when the few light bulb moments going on, because it's about coming home to yourself. So this is the program that I use to create the change, because it's about creating change. So it's like we said before, nothing changes if nothing changes. So it's about creating this change. And there's 3 pillars in the Thrive by Design method that I've created, because it's understanding the problem is one thing, but solving it is another. So over the years, through my own work, my own journey, and through the women that I've worked with who felt exhausted and misunderstood and all the things, I've started to notice something, and that is that the women who experienced the biggest transformations weren't just working on their mindset. Because everyone's like, I am this, when you do the mindset, I am powerful, that's important, and I teach the proper way to do that. God showed me how powerful I am, and I teach that a lot if you're interested in knowing more about that. And I do include it when I'm working with clients. But we do that, I am this and I am that, but it's like, is that actually helping you? Because and these women aren't just healing emotionally, and they're not just learning about human design. We're actually going in deeper, and we're reconnecting with themselves at multiple levels, energetically, emotionally, and practically. And that's what eventually became the Thrive by Design method, the framework that I now use to help women stop fighting themselves and start living in alignment with who they actually are. And I wish I had someone who was doing this a number of years ago, because I would have been this person many years ago. Because this is what I've discovered. Most women are trying to create change from the surface. They're trying to think differently and act differently, which is fantastic that you're trying, push harder. If you really sit in your feminine, it's not about pushing harder. That's more of a masculine way of thinking. A feminine way is actually about sitting back, trusting, and sort of the people just think, I need to be better. I need to be more disciplined. But underneath all of that are those years and years of conditioning, years of emotional patterns, years of belief about who they should be. And until those layers are addressed, lasting change becomes incredibly difficult. They just revert back to who they were. And that's why the Thrive by Design program has 3 pillars. And each pillar addresses a different part of the transformation, because the alignment, a true alignment, isn't created through one breakthrough. It's actually a combination. It's created through understanding yourself first, releasing what no longer belongs to you, and learning how to live in a way that honors your design, the embodiment. Because I get a lot of people say to me, I know about human design. I know. I've ChatGPT'd it. And I'm like, okay, so what do you know? I'm a manifesting generator. I'm like, okay, so what do you know? What more do you know? No, that's all I know. And I know I sort of like I've got a lot of energy. That's just it's not even the tip of the iceberg. And then the other thing is, people will ChatGPT it. So okay, you learn about yourself. But with ChatGPT, I learned from my own when I was studying. I have done a master's in human design, and when I was studying it, I did refer back to Chat, and I was actually checking back. I think this is what it is. That's what Chat says, and Chat got it wrong a few times, and the best way, people Googling before Chat, but they got it wrong a few times, so you can't rely on it. But it's basically, it's helping you to it's created through an understanding of yourself, releasing what no longer belongs to you, and learning how to live in a way that honors your design. So the first pillar, energetic clarity, what I do is this is also where I get a lot of my intuition from as well. So the first thing we need to do is understand this. So most women aren't actually exhausted because they're doing too much. They're exhausted because they're carrying too much. So we get into understanding what that is, the emotional pressure, years of expectation. So I'm asking you questions, you're telling me, I'm picking up intuitively what's happening. It's amazing how much comes out from our ancestors, the conditioning from, life. Coming from a European family, you couldn't tell anybody anything. You had to keep it to yourself, as my mum would say, wouldn't even tell the priest, don't tell anybody anything that goes on. It was always a big secret, such a big secret. And that carries on shame, and the feelings of shame, come out, and feelings of, not being able to speak your truth. Massive one. A lot of women feel they can't speak their truth, and men. I mostly deal with women, but can't speak their truth. Years of stories about who they should be. What about what story they're telling themselves about? Like they're telling themselves about themselves. Like, what story are you telling yourself? Is that a factor? Is that a story? That's a big one. We tend to tell these stories about situations, about our own selves. It's years of trying to hold things together for everyone else, and eventually that becomes very heavy. And have you noticed that there's times when you're physically so tired, even though you've had sleep? Because they say, oh, you didn't get your 8 hours sleep last night. But it's like, I've had my sleep, but I'm still so tired. Why? This is a good example of why. And then what about the other one is that, if you walk into a room and you're feeling fine, but suddenly you're not, and you're exhausted, like you're picking up on other people's energy. So that's another one that, when you have an emotional center, I teach, and I can see through the chart that some people, if it's an open emotional center, they pick up energy and emotional energy from other people. So the first question I'm asking is, whose emotion are you carrying? Is that yours? You need to ask yourself, is that yours? So I really recommend that when you go in a room, and it's a big room, lots of people, and when you come home, notice how you're feeling, and if you're still carrying things, because often people, when they come home, you sort of settle down, but when you're there, you're picking up on all the energy. But sometimes that energy stays with you. So, and that emotion stays with you. So ask yourself, is this my emotional energy that I'm carrying, or is it someone else's? So that's another thing that can happen. Or you find yourself carrying conversation or an argument or an interaction for days afterwards. You're just holding on to it. That's not because you're weak. It's because energy is real and you're holding on to this energy. And emotional energy is really heavy. It's very heavy, and that's why anyone with an open emotion center, I'm always asking them. We're always clearing, and I do know how to clear energy. That's a third pillar that we do. We also clear the energy as well. Just check that chat. Yeah, energy is everything. Oh my gosh, it absolutely is. So interesting when I learned human design, because I was already working with energy, and then I learned human design, and I'm just, oh my God, that's energy from another wave, like bringing it all together. And we're made up of 99.99999% of energy, and and that's actually a scientific fact. So energy is actually scientifically proven, as is genes are scientifically proven, and energy is scientifically proven. So there you go. Basically, and that's what the first pillar is all about, clearing those. So you think, who are you still trying to prove yourself to? It's probably a good question to ask yourself. Who are you still trying to prove yourself to? Whose expectations are you still living under? And you might want to just ask yourself this after, really have a think about that. Who are you actually trying to impress? Because before you can reconnect with yourself, you really need that space to hear yourself. And then pillar 2 is the human design embodiment. I've gone through a lot of that already. Once we create clarity, we can finally understand who you are. And I've gone through that, so I won't go through much more of that. But it becomes so powerful because we actually recognize what energy type you are, how it's meant to work, how you're meant to make decisions, how where all through your centers, where you're in alignment, where you're out of alignment. Is that your energy? Is that somebody else's energy? The overthinkers. I've got an open head center. I'm a big overthinker, massive overthinker. So that always plays out for me, and I help a lot of people because majority of us are open head centers and are overthinkers. So we go right deep into that and understand that. And human design is not about putting you in a box going, this is how you are, so that's it. It's about understanding how you work and how you're designed. So, okay, well, let's see, how's that going for you? Is that working for you? Just be aware of this. But if that's working for you, like if you're happy with certain things, I'm not going to say to change. We're changing what you're not happy about and things that need addressing because they're making you unhappy and exhausted. But yeah, and so it's human design. We've gone through all of that. I'm just going to see if there's anything else that I wanted to say. So yeah, and then it's just basically we talk about the emotional waves and just stop fighting yourself. And then the third pillar is the aligned integration, and that's where the most personal development falls apart because you learn what to do. I mean, I studied NLP as well. I'm certified in NLP, and the main thing for me with NLP is the anchor. I have an anchor when I get a bit anxious, a bit overwhelmed. My new job, it's quite challenging. It was very challenging at the start, trying to learn everything. So I was firing my anchor all the time. But other things, you sort of learn what to do, and then you forget, don't you? Then you go see the kinesiologist, and you sort of forget, and then you do your breath work, and then you go, and they say, just remember to breathe and this way and through, and you go, oh yeah, and then you forget. So again, that's the mindset work. It gets boring after a while. So that's where where the normal mindset work and personal development work can actually let you down. So you can have all the insights in the world, but if nothing changes in your daily life, you stay exactly where you are. And that's why this pillar is so important. It's to integrate it and embody it, because really understanding yourself and how to embody it. And that's how I help setting and then it helps you to set boundaries. It's not avoidance or pushing people away. It's actually about just knowing what's right for you and what works best for your type. So I'm just checking. All right. And so the Thrive by Design Method program, it's a 6-week accelerated program, 6-week private coaching container with me. It's my most favorite thing that I do. We have weekly coaching sessions. They are a combination of things, what you need, and what you need at the time. So I pick up on things intuitively. We're really going into your design, working out where you're aligned, making sure that you understand how to embody it, finding those blocks and those shadows and where you're struggling, clearing the energy. I sort of have a way of I do meditations. I have a tool that I use for beautiful meditation scripts, which I feed into it the area of where you're struggling, and it spits out the most incredible meditation that then I use in my meditation. So it's an energy hack, but in form of a meditation, and I've got a little example of that soon. It's coming up, just a quick 5-minute one. So we also use that. There's a WhatsApp support. So a lot of my clients will send me a message and go, Catherine, I'm going into a really serious meeting. I'm nervous and I'm anxious. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out. Can you help me? And I send them like something to say. And it's incredible how they come out. Oh my God, it was so fantastic. I felt and it was so great. No, I felt so powerful. And, this thing really works. I'm like, I know. So it's very exciting. And so it's a combination. You basically have me holding your space for 6 weeks, and the transformation is it's phenomenal, and it's quick. It's quick. It's that what surprises me the most is just how quick it is. So I've had some beautiful clients. Worked with Dimi is in corporate. She has given me this testimonials, but she just working in the change that she's made. She had some massive issues at work. She was also being bullied. One day she came to me and she goes, Catherine, I need to take time off. I don't know if I'm going to get paid. I don't want to get, I'm being bullied, but I just don't want to make noise and I don't want to make trouble. And I'm like, hang on a minute. Let's just take a step back. What is going on? And then all I could see was people pleasing and fear. She was playing on her fear. She was overthinking. She was making up stories about it. So we brought her all right back in, coached her right back in. Not only did she, that bullying case was sorted, she also, I said to her, you're also going to get a new job there. I could see this new job, and the new job came, and she's deliriously happy in all areas of her life. And she actually sent me a message and said, can I please send a testimonial, because I really want to give this testimonial. So that's if you're reading that, her testimonial, that was during a very challenging time. Catherine's guidance kept me grounded, positive and focused. I came out on the other side stronger, more self-aware, and even landed a fantastic new job. Yeah, so that just made me so happy. And then Michelle is another one who was very, very misunderstood at work, and both are very happy for me to tell you about them. I do have their permission. So Michelle was someone in the corporate world in aged care. That's how I first met her. I did a mindset workshop for her team, and she said she was a manifesting generator like me, very similar. And in terms of the misunderstanding, she also has an emotional wave. And she was constantly misunderstood, getting in trouble, and then of course she'd get resentful, and then she would she wouldn't wait to respond. So that's a strategy for manifesting generators. We wait to respond. Before we respond, we wait, and we wait for this emotional wave to calm down and neutralize, and then we say, right, are we ready to respond now? And our body will, if it feels like a yes, the sacral says yes, and if it says not yet, not yet. So she would respond to emails in a more calmer way, and she'd be in a calmer state, and she wouldn't fight back or say things immediately and bite back at people. And immediately people just noticed the change in her, just how much she had calmed down. Like, what's going on with you? You're so, and then she started to feel less tired, and then she started to feel happier. A relationship ended, and we worked through that relationship, and she was starting to really find herself and step into her power, and then putting in boundaries, and then recognizes where she was people pleasing. And it was just snowballed, and she would go into meetings and send me messages in the morning, I'm going into this meeting, or even, things like she was selling aged care beds, and she'd go, oh my God, Catherine, we've had, because in aged care, this is what happens, of course, over the weekend, the beautiful residents will pass away. They come here for their last days or months or years. So she said one time, oh my gosh, we've just had quite a higher number than usual pass away, she had quite a few beds, and she had pressure to fill them. And she said, "Oh, everybody's coming through. They're not the right fit." So I sent her an energy hack to bring in soul-aligned residents and families, the perfect fit for the home. And within 2 days, those beds were filled. Another example of what happens. But anyway, I can tell so many stories about that. So what would change in your life if you truly trusted yourself? Because that's what they started to do. Dimi and Michelle started to trust themselves. Like, what would change? And not occasionally change, but when things were more consistent, because I speak to women who consistently are doing this work, and they say the same thing. They go, "I know something," like they used to say, like, "I know something needs to change, but I know I can't keep doing the things that I used to do." So it's about consistently doing it. Eventually there does come a point, like when you just get to the point, like Michelle did when she rang me. She just goes, "Catherine," she sent me a message late at night on a weeknight, and she goes, "Catherine, I need you," because she said she's tired. She knows she's ready for something different. She wants something different, but eventually came to a point where awareness wasn't enough. She had to do something about it because she just couldn't keep on living like that anymore. She was so unhappy and exhausted. So again, the question is for you and for others listening to the replay and other people, is how much longer do you want to keep second guessing yourself? How much longer do you want to keep putting yourself last? How much longer do you want to keep carrying people's expectations that were never yours to carry in the first place? How much longer do you want to keep living like that? Because the women who create the biggest transformations aren't necessarily the smartest women. Well, they are pretty smart. My clients certainly are, but they are, and they're not the women who have done the most personal development. I know people who have done it. They're like serial personal development people. The people that just do the courses over and over and over, more and more courses, and keep paying for services and they don't change. These are the women who decide. The women who decide they're no longer available for the same story. The women who decide they're no longer willing to abandon themselves, and the women who decide they're ready to trust themselves. And that's exactly what the Thrive by Design method is designed to support. So it's not just about understanding your human design, as I said earlier. It's about understanding yourself and about creating real change, and learning how to embody that breakthrough in your everyday life. Because when you have support, things happen faster. You stop spinning in circles. If I had someone who offered this to me, this kind of program to me, years ago, I wouldn't have spun in circles. I certainly wouldn't have put up with some of the things that I put up with in my life. But you stop, you stop questioning every step. You stop trying to figure it all out on your own, and instead you have someone walking beside you. And that's what working with me is basically. I'm there, like I said, the WhatsApp group as well. The WhatsApp is one-on-one too, so you've basically got me for 6 weeks, and helping you understand your design, and to really embody it, as opposed to just throwing in ChatGPT and just going, "Oh, it says that it's this," and helping you recognize old conditioning and where it appears. Helping you to navigate challenges differently, helping you build self-trust one decision at a time, and perhaps most importantly is helping you to remember who you actually are, because that's what this work is truly about. Bringing it straight, stripping it all back to you, about who you become, who you are, not becoming someone new. You're actually becoming who you really are. You're like remembering yourself. It's like a remembrance. The version of you that existed before the expectations, before the labels, before the self-doubt, before the belief that you needed to be different in order to be worthy. The woman who is still there and deserves to be heard, and she deserves to be trusted and deserves to be expressed. So if something inside you is telling you it's time, I want you to listen to that, because that voice is the very thing that we're here that's here to you're here to reconnect with. Now, when all of you who's attended live, I've got here the bonus free 30-minute Thrive by Design session. Tomorrow you're going to receive an email from me with this barcode, or probably won't be the barcode, it'll just be the link. But if you want to just tap your phone here now, that'll take you to my calendar, and it's a special 30-minute. You'll see it says free 30-minute session for the energy reset. So please feel free to tap that and book that in, because I'd love to read for you. It can be a quick human design chart reading. It can be an intuitive reading. It can be a chat. It can be a chat about everything. It can be whatever you want it to be. But I'm there. It's my gift to you to say thank you so much for taking the time out for yourself and coming to my workshop tonight to listen to this. Hopefully you picked up a few good pointers and tips. And also I'd love to gift you that free session as well. For the people who are watching the replay, because I do find that people will book for the replay and then just not watch it. So, and those who do watch it, love it, send me messages. Oh my God, thank you, Catherine. That was so helpful. So those who take the time to watch my replay from now till Sunday, you too, I'm also going to gift you too the free 30-minute Thrive by Design session. And so you're welcome to do that as well. And you'll leave with clarity, insight, some practical steps, like just whatever we can fit into the 30 minutes. And if you'd like a longer session, then you can, you're going to have to pay. I'm going to be very strict with this. It's going to be 30 minutes. I'm going to put a timer on because I love helping people and I can just keep doing that. Now that we're sort of coming towards the end of our time, I do have a 5-minute energy reset. If you'd like to stay a little bit longer, I will do the reset, or you can watch the replay and see that. But I just wanted to leave you with this one final thought, that what if there was never anything wrong with you, and what if all these years you've been trying to fix parts of yourself that were never broken? What if the qualities you've been judging, your sensitivity, your intuition, your way of thinking, your way of moving through the world, were actually some of your greatest gifts? Because that's what I discovered, and it's what I've seen so many other women discover too. The moment they stop trying to become someone else and start understanding who they truly are, everything begins to change. So if today's workshop has resonated with you, if you found yourself thinking, this is me, this is exactly how I've been feeling, I finally feel understood, then I invite you to take the next step. And if you're watching the replay, you would have received the link, but you can book. So first of all, you can book in that 30-minute session. But if it's past that time, there's also a discovery call. So if anyone watching the replay at a later time after June the 7th, for the purpose of them, you can also book a 30-minute discovery call about how we can work together with the Thrive by Design method, the 6-week accelerator program. And we can see if it's actually something that will help you, and it's worth, that it's it could make a difference in your life. And if it's not aligned with you, and that's okay too, because I'm basically, what's actually happening at the moment is I have space for 4 more clients. Usually I have more time. I don't now, but I don't want to not offer and help people. So this has come back in. So I've actually I have space for 4 clients for the 6-week Thrive by Design method program, and that's my maximum capacity. So it's basically first in, best dressed at the moment. But if you're feeling called to explore this further, there might be a reason for that. You can book in the call, or in the 30-minute session, we can have a chat about what more working together longer looks like. But whether we end up working together inside the Thrive by Design method, my intention is that you leave today and you have some clarity, that you've enjoyed your time here, you have a better understanding about yourself and your energy and how things work, and even possibly thinking about how other people are and understanding why other people may be behaving the way they're behaving. And the most important is that you have a deep connection to yourself. Because that's really where everything begins. So thank you for being here. Now I'm going to do, is everybody okay to stay another 5 minutes? I'll just check the chat. Does anyone need to go? Oh, listen, your phone died. Yeah, no, everything okay. If you're happy to stay another 5 minutes, I'm going to do a beautiful 5-minute energy reset so that you can experience it. All right. So I'd love for you to invite you to close your eyes and just take a nice slow breath in for 4 and hold that breath and release for 8. And again, breathing in for 4 and holding and release for 8. Now allowing your shoulders to soften, allowing your jaw to relax. Allow yourself to arrive fully in this moment. Body, thank you for carrying me. Body, show me what my natural energy feels like beneath the pressure. Keep breathing in and out. Notice whatever sensation arises. Do you feel a warmth? A lightness? Calm? A feeling of space? Body, expand that feeling safely to level 10, 20, 30, 40. Body, release any emotional weight that does not belong to me. You may feel yourself yawning. You may do a little cough or a sneeze, or a little burp can come up. It's the energy releasing. Release expectations. Release pressure. Release the need to hold everything together. Body, return to your natural rhythm now. And take a breath in. And notice the shift. Spirit of truth, come forward. Spirit of alignment, come forward. Spirit of self-trust, come forward. Show me who I am beneath the conditioning. Show me who I am beneath the labels. Show me who I am beneath the expectations of others. Then ask yourself silently in your mind, how was I designed to thrive? And simply listen. No forcing, no analyzing, just receiving. Force field, activate now. Expand in all directions. Clear all energetic noise. Clear all emotional residue. Clear all expectations that were never mine to carry. Force field, amplify clarity. Amplify self-trust. Amplify connection to my own truth. Allow my energy to return to me now. From every person, every situation, every expectation, every story, return it all to source, and call my energy home. Soul, reconnect me with the woman I truly am. The woman beneath the self-doubt. The woman beneath the people-pleasing. The woman beneath the need for validation. Anchor self-trust into every cell of my body. Anchor clarity into every decision I make. Anchor alignment into the way I live, love, and lead. Soul, remind me that there is nothing wrong with me. Only more of me to remember, and more of me to become. Now placing one hand on your heart and taking in one final breath and release. As you release in your mind, say, I release what is not mine. I trust what is true. I honor how I was designed to thrive. And slowly coming back into the room, opening your eyes, wiggling your toes and your feet. Coming back in. How are we feeling? Does anyone have any questions? We've got a few minutes if anyone who's interested for questions. No, you're probably all exhausted. How is that? Would anyone like to come off mute and just give some comments or anything rather than me talking? Or put it in the chat. I can address it. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to have you. I'm just going to stop sharing. Here we go. And I'll stop recording.